Welcome to my channel, Military Comebacks. Tonight, I bring you a story that plunges deep into courage, sacrifice, and unshakable strength. It's the story of a woman who faced death without flinching and reminded the world why you never threaten. A Navy SEAL. The sun was rising over a dusty village. Somewhere in the Middle East, the wind carried the bitter scent of metal and smoke, and distant gunfire echoed like ghosts whispering in the air. Lieutenant Sarah Cole adjusted her headscarf and stepped out of the old Jeep. Her clothes were torn, boots worn, and her hands held a battered camera. To any onlooker, she seemed like just another fragile, lost foreign journalist. But beneath that disguise, a storm waited. Sarah wasn't a journalist. She was a Navy SEAL, trained for black operations no one would ever hear about. Her mission was clear: infiltrate the area, locate a captured American agent, and bring him home. No backup, no spotlight, no room for mistakes. She moved through the narrow market streets, eyes scanning everything: the rooftops, reflections in dirty windows, the rhythm of the crowd. Every movement meant something. Every silence meant danger. At the edge of the village, she reached a warehouse. Guards stood outside, rifles slung carelessly, laughing at something she didn't understand. Sarah lowered her gaze and approached slowly, pretending to fumble with her camera. "Hey lady, you're a long way from home. What are you doing here?" One guard sneered. "I'm just documenting what happens here," she said softly. "Stories. The world forgets." The guard snatched the camera and inspected it. The lens was cracked, the buttons dusty and act. All of it. He chuckled. "Doesn't even work." Then, without warning, he pressed the cold barrel of his rifle against her forehead. The world went quiet. Her blood burned hot beneath the steel. "You picked the wrong story to tell," he said. Sarah stayed calm. "You really shouldn't do that." The guard frowned. "What did you just say?" Then everything changed. Her hand shot up like lightning, twisting the rifle to the side. She stepped in, slammed her elbow into his throat, and freed the weapon. The man fell gasping before he could scream. The second guard raised his gun, but Sarah swung the rifle stock into his jaw, sending him crashing into the wall. 2 heartbeats, 2 enemies down. She dragged their bodies behind crates and checked her watch. 10 minutes until extraction. Inside the warehouse, dust and the scent of gasoline filled the air. Sunlight cut through broken windows, highlighting the darkness. A faint voice called, "Help me, please." Sarah followed the sound. In a corner, tied to a chair, was the agent, bruised, bloodied, but alive. She cut the ropes and whispered, "You're going to be okay. I'm getting you out." "Who are you?" he asked, dazed. "A friend," she said with a small smile. They moved toward the back door, but the roar of a truck froze them. Armed men jumped out, shouting orders in a language she didn't understand. Sarah pushed the agent behind a wall. "1 rifle, half a clip, no grenades, no backup. When I move, you run. Don't look back," she whispered. She stepped forward, hands raised. The men surrounded her instantly. One pressed his gun to her head. "Who are you? Do you really want to pull that trigger?" she asked, calm and fearless. He smirked. "You think I won't?" The faintest smile touched her lips. "The last man who tried is still on the floor behind me." Hesitated, and that moment was all she needed. She dropped low, kicked the gun aside, and fired 2 precise shots. To his leg, 1 to the man behind him. Chaos erupted. Bullets ripped through the air as Sarah dove behind a crate, firing in controlled bursts. Every movement was precise, born of years of training. She rolled, reloaded, and took down 2 more. Dust filled her lungs, blood trickled down her arm, but her focus never wavered. When the smoke cleared, only 2 enemies were left. She struck like a ghost, and silence returned. She grabbed the agent. "Move." They sprinted to the truck. Sarah jumped in, slammed the accelerator, and tore through alleyways as gunfire chased them. "Who the hell are you?" he gasped. "Navy." "SEAL," she said without looking. He blinked. "You're joking." "They don't send women on missions like this." "Sometimes they do," she said, "when the mission needs a ghost." Ahead, A checkpoint loomed. 3 men, guns raised. Sarah didn't slow down. She floored it, smashing through the barricade. Moments later, silence. The village disappeared behind them, the horizon glowing gold with dawn. Extraction ready. Location Charlie Point. 4 clicks north, the radio crackled. Sarah exhaled. "You saved my life," the agent said. "No," she said. "I just made sure you had another chance to live." At the rendezvous, a helicopter descended. Dust swirled as Sarah helped the agent aboard, then glanced back at the fading village. "Lieutenant Cole, you're bleeding," the pilot shouted. "Just a scratch," she shrugged. As the chopper lifted, she stared at the endless desert. Behind her calm eyes were memories of faces lost, friends who never returned. Wait. A week later, the mission report reached headquarters. Her name was mentioned once. Operative successful. No medals, no ceremonies. That was how it always was for silent warriors like her. At the training base, recruits whispered about her. "Ma'am, is it true you saved an agent by yourself?" "No." "Didn't save him," she said. "I just did my job." "Why do you do it?" a boy asked. "Because someone has to stand between danger and the innocent," she said, looking toward the sea. "Freedom isn't free. It's guarded by those willing to pay the price." That night, under the stars, she whispered a prayer, not for herself, but for those still out there in the dark. And though the world may never know her name, anyone who crossed her path learned the same lesson. You never threaten a Navy SEAL, especially one who fights not for glory, but for the people who will never know her story. If Sarah's courage and sacrifice moved you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Military Comebacks for more cinematic mission stories that show what real heroism looks like.